This is the MOBC, my own boxing community. And man, I want to give a shout out, man, to all these silly fans who somehow, once again, the fans are divided. The fans are divided, and all of a sudden, Crawford's resume is, you know, and his accomplishments is now being criticized, and the Crawford fanboys are criticizing Canelo's accomplishments and resume. Salute Rodolfo Rivera, man, salute. And once again, rather than being excited about this fight, because it is an intriguing fight, although I would have rather see Canelo fight Benavidez, and I would have rather see Crawford fight someone else at 154. We have a quote unquote super fight coming up, but I want to really talk about how can one be the victor in this fight. And if you look at their last performances, in my opinion, because you're only good as your last fight, in my opinion, Canelo fought someone that he just wasn't fighting. Now, the only thing that we could say is Canelo's feet is a little slower. His punch output was less. But he wasn't in there with someone like Berlanga or Munguia who came there to fight. Salute Bruce. Salute Red Glove Militant. Skull wasn't in there to fight. And you go by your last performance, and in my opinion, the guy who looked vulnerable, the guy who looked beatable at 154, not 160, not 168, was Crawford. And there was a lot of people thinking that Crawford, he stopped, everybody he faced at welterweight, everybody he faced after Postal was all ended in stoppages, right? So when he fought Madrimov, who was coming in 10 professional fights, a lot of fans thought no different. But there was the one thing that I saw in Crawford that I've never seen any opponent do, not even Gamboa. Now, I know Gamboa put him on the stanky leg, but not even Gamboa, right? Even when Crawford was younger, and you could go into any fight at 140, you could go into any fight at 147. I've never seen Crawford get hit with 3 consecutive right hands back to back without a feint, without even setting it up. Madrimov just threw it straight. Boom, boom, boom. And all 3 punches landed. I feel like it was 4. I would have to go back to it. But when you look back in this fight, everything goes against Crawford winning this fight. He's never fought at 168. He's never fought someone with a style like Canelo, right? He's 37 years old, and he was in some say, some people felt like Madrimov won. No one thought Skull won. I mean, if you thought Madrimov won, whatever. If you want to make that, I wouldn't even debate this, whatever, right? I would disagree, but whatever. But like, if you was to say, well, Skull won, and there were a few fighters out, boxing fans out there in comments who feel like Skull won, whether they're trolling or whatever the case may be, that one I would be like, okay, now you're not being honest with yourself. All right? So everything about this fight goes against Crawford winning, right? If you look back at the situation with Spence, that wasn't 100% Spence. It wasn't. It wasn't. I'm gonna say Danny Garcia didn't fight 100% Spence, and Ugas didn't fight 100% Spence. Right? Right? Spence picked Danny Garcia because that was a safe fight to come back with at 147. Let's just be honest. Right? And then he fights Ugas. And we saw what happened there when he got hurt. There was a little weird thing going on. Right? My man looked like he called timeout or something. It was almost like a situation with the Tank Davis and Freddie and Lamont Roach. But it's like he thought that his teeth fell out or something. And then his mouthpiece fell out. You got to keep going. You don't stop. You don't call timeout. And I think Spence is more seasoned enough to know this. So even that version of Spence wasn't 100%. Right? And then before that, he fought Porter. Now, Porter's a good fighter. He's decent. He comes to fight. But he can't win any big fights. Now, I think the fight could have continued. But for the sake of his own son and knowing that this is his last hurrah and they know this, he threw in the towel. And that's okay. But in those performances, I didn't see anything that told me I think he could beat Canelo. I mean, the thought of those two fighting didn't even cross anyone's mind. When he moved up to 154, we all thought, hey, who knows? He's going to try to go for one undisputed at 154. But see, by the time, because it's stacked, the competition there is stacked. I think 54, you can make an argument, is the best division right now in terms of talent. And now Boots is up there. By the time Crawford would have got a chance to fight for an undisputed, had he got there, he'd be probably 39 years old, almost 40. Salute, Charles D. Salute. The only reason Bud is getting Canelo is because Canelo is ducking Benavidez. Yeah, you're right, Bruce. You're right, Bruce. So, there's nothing that Crawford has done is telling me that he could beat Canelo. Right? They say that Crawford, he has the dog in him. And he does. Crawford comes to fight. Floyd makes adjustments and he wins split decisions. Some majority decisions. Crawford makes adjustments and he stops his opponents for the most part. That's the difference between Crawford and Floyd. However, when it comes to being a technician, when it comes to being a thinking man in the ring, being very calculated and smart, I don't really see that in Crawford. But I have seen that with Canelo. So, again, everything in this fight goes against Crawford winning. Now, I haven't made my prediction yet. But we're talking about someone who's never fought higher than 154. Going against one of the pound-for-pound fighters today. Now, on the flip side of this, when we talk about age, Canelo is 34 years old. He's younger. However, he's been in more fights. He's been more active. He's been in more wars. the two fights alone may have took something out of Canelo. I don't know. Because he looked great becoming undisputed at 168. Now, going on to criticizing their accomplishments, I guess I could segue into that, talking about fighting Golovkin. The root cause of Canelo having that 1 year run, becoming undisputed, is because Benavidez lost his belt on the scale and set in motion a pattern for Canelo, along with having the right promoter, along with having the champions in that division willing to defend their title and also want to become undisputed. Because you had to get through Canelo too, right? There wasn't any, Callum Smith and, Yildirim, Plant, Yildirim, Plant, Saunders. There wasn't any bickering and arguing and ducking and trying to avoid Canelo, right? It's like, oh, well, he fought nobodies. No. He fought the champions that was there willing to fight. And that's what we all want to see, right? We all want to see the champions fight each other so we can see it undisputed. Yet when Canelo did it, you downplayed his accomplishments. Now, him ducking Benavidez, that's a whole nother topic. But again, Benavidez is at fault in setting the tone and losing his title on the scale. I mentioned this before. And so with Crawford, fans are doing the same thing. I've heard someone say, why did he fight Victor Postol? He could have fought anyone else at 140. Well, if he wanted to become undisputed, he had to fight Victor Postol. And because Victor Postol is not elite to you, doesn't mean he isn't elite. He was the world champion there. He did beat Matisse. So you can't say he's not elite. I think we use the term elite, not elite, a little too loosely. You could have a contender that you feel like is elite, but he got a subpar resume. And now fans are downplaying two pound-for-pound fighters who are about to fight each other. Now, both of these guys are past their prime. So we got to get that out the way. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, Canelo is younger. He's 34. He's fighting an older man. I don't want to hear that. Both of these guys are past their primes. You could see a decline against Madrimov. You could see a decline versus Munguia. No way Munguia was supposed to land that many punches on Canelo. No way was Berlanga supposed to go last 12 rounds with Canelo, not having great defense at all. No way was Skull to run his way into 12 rounds. You see the news says Benavidez got his last month taken away, tested positive for coca. Whoa, Champ Ross. Hey, I haven't seen that. Salute, Mr. Big Playboy, man. Salute, y'all. Thanks for coming on. So no way was Canelo. So even when you look at Canelo in those last three fights, he looked very beatable, especially with the Munguia fight. If you guys watch that fight again, I had Munguia winning that fight. You know why? He was more active, and for every one shot Canelo landed, Munguia landed 2 or 3. But I'm not the one pushing the buttons for CompuBox. It's some dude somewhere in Wyoming in his living room in his pajamas pushing buttons, telling you that Canelo landed so many blows and negating the blows that Munguia landed. But whatever. The fact of the matter is, both of these guys looked vulnerable. So we are talking about a super fight with two guys that are past their primes. Okay? It comes down to this. Can Crawford fight comfortable at 168? Will he have the speed and the power at 168? We didn't see the power in 154. We saw a little bit of speed, but Crawford was never the super fast guy. We saw somewhat of the physical strength, but I thought Madrimov was physically strong as well. So these are the things we have to take in consideration, that he's going in there fighting a bigger man, okay? Now, I see a lot of people saying they're the same size. Crawford is an inch taller. He has longer reach. Yeah, you're right. He does have longer reach. He is taller. But he's not the bigger fighter. Not at all. He could gain the weight, all the weight he wants. He's not the bigger fighter. I talked about it in my last video. How Sasaki and Brian Norman Jr. was pretty much the same size. Sasaki had like an inch or two reach disadvantage, but they were pretty much the same size. And when they went in the ring, you could clearly see who was bigger, and they both rehydrated around the same weight, 11 pounds, 10 or 12 pounds. You could clearly see that Brian Norman was bigger. Crawford is not going to be bigger than Canelo, especially on fight night, guys. And he's more seasoned at 168. Way more seasoned at 168. Fought Bivol. Right? Fought Berlanga. Now, I've seen people going crazy saying Crawford would beat Berlanga. Crawford would beat Skull. How do we know? There's weight classes for a reason. If Berlanga was to hit Crawford with one shot straight to the jaw, he's gone. There's weight classes for a reason. Now, someone like Munguia would be throwing punches and bunches against Crawford. They know Crawford wouldn't be able to hurt them, not at 168. And I'm pretty sure Canelo was thinking the same thing, right? And all of us are thinking the same thing. I could tell you right now, he's not going to be able to hurt Crawford. Crawford is not going to be able to hurt Canelo. I'm saying it now. He's not going to be able to hurt Canelo. But he can still win the fight. Fight smart. Throw a lot of punches. Avoid the body shots. Avoid the setups, the uppercuts. And stay busy for the judges. And he could win this fight on points. Because I have a feeling that Canelo is going to fight with that high guard, and he's going to throw one punch at a time. That's what he's been doing lately. The last guy to keep him working was Munguia. Even against Berlanga, for the most part, high guard, one punch here and there. In order for Crawford to not get hit in the body, he's going to have to be on the move. He's going to have to be on the move. He got the long arms. Does he use the reach like Floyd? Does he use the reach like Tommy Hearns? Does he know how to use the reach like Bob Foster, former light heavyweight champion of the 70s? I'm not really too sure about that. But the trick that Crawford has is he's a switch hitter. So with Canelo, you can't fight with that high guard and just think one punch at a time is going to win you a fight. It's not. It's not. You got to go in there and impose your size, show him that you're a threat, and make Canelo intimidate Crawford. Intimidate him. Make Crawford think something is coming every time I throw a punch. That's how you got to beat Crawford. Don't fight timid like the way you fought Skull. because I don't see Crawford fighting off the back foot like Skull, but I do see him fighting off the back foot, but using more of a jab, because the jab is the key. But you got to be smart, because the one thing that Canelo has, which he developed from studying the Floyd fight, because I know he studied that Floyd fight over and over again, is Canelo has really good timing. The way he timed Kovalev in a fight that he was losing was a masterclass in that last round, right? Remember what happened to Foster when he moved up in weight. Bruce, again, perfect analogy. When Bob Foster moved up in weight, until this day, my father says he doesn't know how Bob Foster got a chance to fight Frazier and Muhammad Ali. But whatever. When he fought Frazier, it ended in a knockout. It ended in a knockout. We're talking about somebody that could crack. Bob Foster can crack. And although he did cut Muhammad Ali, and I do believe he might be the first person to have put a cut on Ali, Ali was eating those punches. He was eating them. It was nothing behind it. He didn't even hurt. Ali was pretending to get hurt. And Ali stopped him in like the 7th or 8th round. He wasn't acclimated in that weight class as a heavyweight. And in this case, we're seeing Crawford has never fought at 168. On top of that, this isn't the same day weigh-in. I don't know how many pounds Canelo is going to be, but he's going to be bigger. He has thicker neck, thicker legs, bigger biceps, wider back, thicker legs. He is the bigger man in this fight. And if Triple G couldn't put Canelo down, if Kovalev couldn't put Canelo down, if Berlanga, quote unquote, a puncher, couldn't put Canelo down, if Callum Smith couldn't put Canelo down, what makes fans think that Crawford is going to even put a bloody nose on Canelo? I would be surprised if he put any type of red swelling on Canelo. That's how confident I am in Crawford not hurting Canelo. He might not even make the pale face turn red. And I'm just being honest. Mr. Big Playbray says Canelo going to take some chances, I believe. I hope so. You know, at the end of the day, one of these guys got to be active to make it exciting. Yeah, because I mean, in my opinion, I don't think the Madrigal fight was too exciting, and I definitely don't think the Skull fight was exciting. The last exciting fight Canelo was in might have been against Munguia. The Roy taking Munguia out of the Reynoso camp. Who else trains with Reynoso? We're not even going to go there. This might be the second half fight. Bud might have a little more bounce in his legs and try to box his way to. Yeah, and I can see that happening. Like I said, I think it comes down to them knowing Canelo would slow down. And I do believe that even at 37 and even at 168, I think Crawford's going to have a little bit more pep in his step at 168. I think he's going to be able to do it. I think he's going to be able to move around. I'm questioning his endurance at 168, but we don't have to question Canelo's endurance. He slows down now. And see, that's where Mr. Big Playbray, he's right. Canelo slows down in the second half. And that's where Crawford can capitalize and start picking his shots off. And remember, Crawford gotta stay busy. Keep the jab out there. Keep it pumping. Pump it. But make it count. Make the stick count. Don't be like Laura, where he was just pity-patting his way on to surviving 12. Don't do that. Make the jab count, right? Make it count. Throw a little Sonny Liston jab out there. Throw a jab, a stiff, a Ike Cortez jab. No pity pat. No. No measuring sticks. Don't do the measuring. Don't do the pity pat. Don't flick. I don't want you to do the old school flicking jab. No. I want you to throw a jab, the jab that you first learned when you're new to boxing. You step into it. You step into the jab. Stiff, strong, straight jab. Stick. Right? Do we know who Bud is sparring with? I don't know. I don't know who he's sparring with, but I hope he's sparring with at least middleweights. I hope he's sparring with at least middleweight. Steve Nelson, is that who he's sparring with? Is he sparring with Steve Nelson? I don't know who he's sparring with. I haven't seen or heard anything about Crawford's training. The last thing that I did see with Crawford is he was doing like some type of conditioning with the Victor Conte's conditioning team, where he was like running hills and they were doing sprints, things of that nature. But I don't know who he's sparring with. What I do know is Bomac did say their plan is to move. Now I don't know what that means. Moving could mean anything, right? Moving, move after landing a punch. Move like Devin Haney. Move like Shakur. Stay at a certain range. Make sure that Canelo don't close the gap and move in that manner. We don't know what move means, so to me it's a gray area when he says, "Yeah, we plan on moving," because at the end of the day, most of us gonna run to, "Oh yeah, he's gonna be running like Skull. He's gonna be running like Charlo," but that may not be the case. That may not be the case. You can stand in one place and move. We saw that with Pernell Whitaker. We see that with James Toney, with Mike McCallum, where these guys can stand in one place and move their head, and that's moving. So we don't know what moving actually means. I would have a hard time getting a train advice from someone shaped. Hey man, shout out to Bruce, man. Y'all subscribe to Bruce, man. Gotta leave it up to Bruce to make a very, very good joke, man. Y'all subscribe to Bruce Gas. Please subscribe to Bruce Gas, man. It's a really good channel. One of my favorite channels. So and Bomac does eat those chips when he's training. I mean, I've never seen a trainer where he's actually eating and giving advice. I haven't never seen that before, ever. He's definitely the first one to be snacking on hot Cheetos and giving advice. But when it comes to this fight, and if I'm going to give my prediction, right? Because I am going to give my prediction, and I can do it right now. I like Crawford a lot. I think he's a generational talent. I think he's one of the best fighters of this current generation. I don't want to go far. I don't want to go farther than Ike Cortez and the Oscar De La Hoya era. But I will say, I do believe at 147, Crawford would have been just as successful fighting guys like Margarito and what's his name? Joshua Clottey and Mosley. I do believe, actually I'll take Mosley out the equation. I do believe that Crawford would have been very successful fighting a more prime Porter, fighting prime Keith Thurman, fighting a better version of Spence. I think the only fighter that would have, in my opinion, possibly beat Crawford, and it's possible, but I think Kell Brook's style might have gave Crawford a hard time not fighting Triple G in Spence. I'm talking about a fresh Kell Brook. Because a fresh Kell Brook would have beat Spence. I'm tell you that right now. I mean, he would have beat Spence. Okay? You know, he's fighting Spence with one eye. He wasn't going to win that fight. But I think it's terms of talent and also accomplishment, wanting to be undisputed and became undisputed twice. You have to put Crawford up there of this generation, of this era, as one of the best ever. Okay? The only criticism that I have with Crawford is he didn't defend any of his undisputed titles. And if he beats Canelo, he's not going to fight Plant. He's not going to fight Andrade. You know, he's not going to fight Munguia. He's not going to fight these guys. He's going to retire or possibly have a rematch with Canelo. And that'll be his title defense. But that's the only downside with it, okay? Canelo was 34 years old. He slowed down. He did cut the ring off with Skull, but he didn't cut the ring off enough to capitalize. Canelo was only throwing one shot at a time. He's throwing a body shot here and there. He's throwing a hook here and there. Even when he gets in the pocket, it's one shot. He doesn't throw many combinations like he used to. But he is a natural 168. And he's faced big guys, bigger punches, bigger puncher than Crawford. And I do think that although this is a lose-lose situation for Canelo, because he gains nothing. He's going to get criticized if he wins. And he's going to get criticized if he loses. And even Crawford will get criticized if he loses. They're going to go back to his resume. And his resume is subpar. You only could fight who's there. And he fought everyone that was there to become undisputed. But I do have Canelo winning this fight via decision. I think that at some point in this fight, there are going to be too many rounds where Crawford is just inactive. I noticed that in the Madrimov fight. And if Madrimov would have just picked up the pace just a little bit, he might have edged that fight and become the first person to beat Crawford. But I have Canelo winning this fight. I think Canelo's going to do it. But I am rooting for Crawford. Not for the reasons that some people think, but because I'm tired of these Canelo fanboys. I'm sick of these Canelo fanboys. You guys are worse than Tank fanboys. You guys are worse than Lomachenko fanboys. I can't stand some of you fanboys. Right? I can't stand some of you fanboys. Okay? Some of you fanboys can't even be honest and say, you know what? I thought Triple G won the first fight. You can make an argument with the second fight. But I'm 100% sure Triple G should have got that with victory. But that's why I am rooting for Crawford. Because I'm tired of his fans, and I don't like that Canelo ducked Benavidez. You said you wouldn't fight any Mexicans. Then you fought Berlanga. Keyshawn was eating Bomac honey buns in the gym. Nah, man, y'all playing, man. Was he really feeding them honey buns? What's next for Bud if he wins? Nah, man, the honey buns, man. Bomac is gigantic, bro. What's next for Bud? To me, it's either retire or he'll probably fight Canelo again if he wins. I don't think he's gonna fight Plant. I don't listen. If Crawford beats Canelo, that doesn't mean that he could beat anybody at 168. All right. It just means he's beating a guy that's past his prime, who's been in a lot of fights. It comes down to which one of these guys who has actually aged the worst out of the two, you know? Because you could be younger and have an older body. All right? You could be younger and have an older body. This is a fact. Okay? But I'm picking Canelo to beat Crawford. I just think he has what it takes to beat him. And again, I just feel like there's going to be some rounds, too many rounds, where Crawford is going to be inactive and the judges are going to take notice to that. But if Canelo still stays and continues to fight after this win, you might want to see Benavidez at some point. Catch weight at 172, something. It's the fight that fans want to see, Canelo. Now, I defended you. I defended you a few times behind this Benavidez situation. But it is time for you to face that. It's time for you to face that. It's time for him to have that. Bud has to end with Charlo. You mean Charlo? That's a good fight, man. I don't know if he could beat Charlo. I mean, which Charlo are we talking about? The one who fought Canelo? The 54 Charlo or the 60 Charlo? I don't know if he could beat Charlo, man. It's just a size difference, you know. I mean, he probably can. Charlo's, you know, didn't look too great, and he is inactive and has the mental thing issues going on. Crawford probably could win that fight. Actually, he probably could win that fight. He, you know what, Mr. Big Purple, that's a good fight. Now that I'm thinking about it, that is a good fight, Charlo and Crawford. I like that. But I gotta see Charlo fight the kid that beat Plant, and I still want to see Charlo fight Plant. Charlo still needs to get his get back. You know what I'm saying? But Plant's been in some wars. You know, he lasted with Benavidez, but he took some punishment in that fight. But I really believe that the Canelo fight took a lot out of him. I mean, you saw the fight with Plant before the kid that just beat him. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for the ref, he might have lost that fight, right? You know, he might have lost that fight. You know, the other guy, McCumbee, ran out of gas, and it is what it is. But you could make an argument that the ref came in there and helped Plant a little bit, right? Yes, 151 from 160. I would give Bud, would give Bro. Yeah. I mean, any one of those brothers would give Crawford problems. But like I said, at the end of the day, Crawford is a career welterweight, right? You can make an argument that he's really, truly a natural 140, right? But I say, at best, his true weight, you know, was 140, 147. I know people call him a weight bully, but, you know, he fought at 154. You saw what that looked like, right? Now, I know he was 35, 36 when it happened, but it doesn't matter. We saw what it looked like. That's what we saw. What we saw is what we saw. Plant took some shots over the years. Yeah, he took some shot over the years, man, but it's like, could Crawford beat Plant? I don't know. I mean, if Plant could move and box the way he boxes, it'd just be a size difference, man. It'd just be a real big size difference, man. Straight up, man. Anyway, man, that's all I have for this. I got Canelo winning. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Salute to everybody that stopped by, man. And let's just hope for a good fight. Let's just hope that we get an exciting fight and not a Floyd versus Manny all over again. I don't want to see a Floyd versus Manny again. I don't. If this is a super fight, make it a super fight. Hopefully, we get two guys that's past their prime, Salute, Mr. Big. Hopefully, we get two guys that's past their prime, like Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, when they fought for the second time, and we ended up getting one of the best fights in boxing history. Hopefully, these two guys who are past their prime do the same. This is the MOBC, my own boxing community.